Have you ever felt like you're living a watered down version of yourself? Like you wake up, you're tired, you don't have motivation, you don't have energy, you go to work and the people around you don't even really know you, and you can't help but feel like life just feels meaningless. The people you hang around with, you don't connect with them on a deeper level. You're doing things that you don't even actually want to do, but you're just doing them. And deep down, you just feel like there should be more to life, like there should be more meaning, but you can't seem to grasp it. And deep down, you feel lost. Because recently, I started feeling this when I was living in Barcelona. And if you watch my videos, my last video, you kind of see like my real, raw, authentic process of what I was going through. But this isn't the first time that I felt this. The last time I really felt this was when I was working at my engineering job. I was working a job that I literally had no interest in. Every single day I would wake up, I would go to work, and I felt like a watered down version of myself. Like during the weekends, I would come alive when I would be working on content and music and doing things, being out in nature, exploring, hanging with my friends. Like I felt fully alive. But as soon as Monday would come around and I had to wake up for work, I was a completely different person. And then over time, I literally felt like my soul was being dimmed. You know, I would go to work and I'd be in this routine. I would come home, I would kind of work on other stuff I wanted to do, but I barely had any time. And I just felt like I was not living up to my potential, or that life just felt meaningless, okay? I don't know if you ever felt this, but these are signs that you're living out of alignment. So here's the thing. I truly believe, I don't know what you believe in, but I truly believe that our soul has always been existed. Our soul has always existed, right? And as soon as we're born, we start to get conditioned by life, by our parents, by our environment, by society, right? Like we get told what we should do, what we should think, what we should believe, right? What our goals should be. But we don't ever really stop to think about if that's actually what we truly want, right? So from the moment you were born, you start to get conditioned by everything going on around you. And a lot of people will just continue on this path forever, right? They go to high school, then they go to college, and then the next step is to get a job. And then the next step is to find a wife, and then have a family, and then buy a house. And then before you know it, you're living this life that you didn't even choose, right? Like this is literally what happens to so many people, is they don't even choose the life that they actually want to live. And sometimes people in their 30s and in their mid 30s and their 40s, like they have this realization that they're not even living for themselves. And the moment that you start to take accountability, that you start to take responsibility for your life, for your environment, for your thoughts, for your circumstances, to actually improve and create the life that you want, is truly the moment that you start living, in my opinion. Because you start to live your life. You're not living somebody else's life, you're living your life. And in this moment, you start to decondition and you start to remove all these things that were placed on you, and you can truly start to think about what you value, who you are, what your actual goals are, like what you actually want for your life, right? So if you are feeling like I said you're tired and like life is just meaningless, and that you're not even really sure like what you're living for or why you do the things you do, like you just go out and you drink with your friends because it's not the right thing to do, but like it's just what everybody else is doing, right? And you're not making your own decisions, then your odds are you're not living in alignment, because all those things are not bad. Drinking and going out with your friends, like all that stuff is fine. It's just when you're not doing things intentionally and working and moving in the direction that you are actually choosing to move in, that those things become a problem, right? So if you're living out of alignment, the first step is to remove everything, all the information that you're consuming, like on social media, all the junk. Like, you need to clean your environment so that you have the time and the space to like really be with yourself and figure out what you actually value. I heard this thing one time where it was like, sometimes you're like, oh, let me write down like my values, and you write down your values, blah 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 blah, and that's great because those are usually values that you like aspire to be like. But if you really want to find what you value, take note of what you're doing, your actions. Your actions tell you what you value, okay? And if you analyze what you do and what are you doing, how are you spending your time, who are you spending your time with, what are you doing, how are you conducting yourself in relationships, are you having meaningless sex, are you like what are you actually doing? You know, that will actually tell you what you value. And then you can look at the values that like you ideally want, and then you can see if you're even living in accordance with your values, right? And if you're not, then your actions need to start changing to live in accordance with your values. And these are things that you have to come up with on your own, right? Everybody's gonna value different things, but you have to listen to what feels right to you. Once you start doing this, and once you really start to tune into this voice of what you value and get clear on what that is, then the next step is to start saying no to everything that you don't value, right? That isn't in line with your values. Because if you're always saying yes to things and you're always compromising on your values and on your beliefs, and you're doing things that aren't in line with what you ultimately want to do, then you're not opening yourself up to your path. You're not truly vibrating and emitting your authentic frequency. And then you're not allowing that same frequency to get reflected back at you, right? Because you're not putting out that authentic frequency out into the universe, right? You're putting out a different frequency. So the frequency that you're going to get back is going to be the frequency that you're putting out. But if that's not your authentic frequency, then things that are in alignment are not going to get reflected back at you with who you really are. So if you're not living in alignment, first you have to get clear on what that is for you, like what you truly want. And then you have to start living from that place and saying no to everything that doesn't align with that, okay? As soon as you start doing this, and as soon as you truly start to listen and to be open to yourself, then you will start to get like signs from the universe in forms of like synchronicities, which is really just a fancy term for coincidences that aren't really coincidences. Like, nothing happens by chance, everything happens for a reason. So if you are thinking about something, if you're thinking about doing something, if you're thinking about a place, like maybe you have like the idea of moving there, and then you meet somebody that like instantly the next day you meet somebody that's talking about that place, or you read about it in a book, or you're thinking about moving there, and then instantly when you look up you see like repeating numbers or something. Like, you can actually assign meaning to these things, and the world becomes that much more meaningful. Like, everything is connected, and once you realize this and once you start tapping into this, you start to understand that you are the creator of your reality, and everything that's happening around you is happening for you to get you to your most evolved and awakened version of yourself. But you have to allow that to happen, and you have to, like I said, get in tune with what your natural frequency is, and then you have to start saying no to everything that isn't aligned with that, and then you have to start walking in that direction even though it's gonna be scary as hell. Like when I first moved to Colombia and I started traveling, it was fucking scary. People tell me I was gonna die, and like I didn't even know what I was getting into, where I was going. But as soon as I took that leap, so many good things started happening to me. Like literally on the airplane, I met people that were just aligned with me, with myself, with my goals, with my values, and like I met the most amazing people. Like I just can't even begin to explain like how many amazing things have happened to me since I started fully trusting this and following this voice. And I'm not saying like everything has been great. Like even this past few months, like I've felt really lost, and I'm once again getting realigned to myself. But that's just the way it is. Like when you fully follow what you are being called to do, you will face and you will learn lessons that you need to learn along the way. Even if they're not pleasant, even if they don't feel good to learn, like these are things that are on your path for a reason that you're supposed to learn, and the good and the bad is all happening for you, okay? I was reading Carl Jung today, and if you, like when you decide to choose yourself, to follow yourself, to follow your path, like it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna feel good all the time. Like you will go through pain, you will go through suffering, but you're living your life. You're living your life. We all are gonna start at the bottom, and we start at the bottom when we decide to take full accountability and full ownership for the life that we are living, for the life that we're creating. Okay, life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. So if you're feeling out of alignment, if things feel meaningless, if you don't have energy, if you're not excited to wake up every day, if you feel lost, then you need to start by cleaning your space, having time when you're just alone, sitting by yourself, meditating or whatever, following your curiosities, and then getting clear on what your values are, saying no to everything that doesn't align, and then being open to the breadcrumbs and that are leading you, and having the courage to actually follow and pursue these things, knowing that it's going to be scary and it's going to be uncertain. But once you do, and once you start moving in that direction, like everything will naturally start to fall into place, and you will feel at peace, you will feel fulfilled, you will feel good, you will feel aligned, and you will attract opportunities that are also aligned in your direction, in your way, okay? Because you will slowly start to become and strip away everything that isn't you and become who you were naturally here to be, your soul, right? And I think if you can just do this every single day and get a little bit closer every day to who you were here, put on this earth to be, then your life will feel that much more meaningful, and you will be able to create a life that you are actually proud of. So if you're feeling misaligned, try these things, and whatever you're feeling like that you should do is probably the right thing. Not what you're thinking you should do, not what makes sense like logically. It's a feeling. It's this feels right despite it not making sense. That's when you know that you're moving in the right direction. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps you get some clarity. And maybe this is a sign that you needed. Maybe this is a sign that you need to, because you're starting to question and you're starting to feel these things like, dude, something just feels off. You need to get clear on who you are and what you value. And then you need to start saying no to everything that doesn't align with that, and start doing the things that you genuinely want to do. Okay? And it's a process, it's a practice, but this is how I believe that you start to align yourself with who you truly are. So I hope that helps, and cheers, much love, talk soon.